I hope I don't look too tired. I have to be honest, we have kept two of our grandkids over through the weekend, kind of back to back, and it's been an absolute blast. But man, a 2 year old and a 4 year old, it's a good thing you have them when you're young. And so we have just loved on them. It's been great to have them. So, but as I had them there and played with them, one of the things that just kind of comes to your mind is when you're with kids is the same thing when my kids were little is, what do I really want to have happen in their life? And so when we look at Proverbs, that's what we're studying this summer on Wednesdays and on Sunday mornings. We're looking at some texts that really speak to us about what is the real treasure that we can pass down. So today we're going to be in Proverbs chapter 4, verses 1 through 9, and Proverbs chapter 6, verses 20 through 23. Socrates wrote, he said, "Could I climb to the highest place in Athens," he said, "I would lift up my voice and proclaim, 'Fellow citizens, why do you turn and scrape every stone to gather wealth and take so little care of the children to whom you must someday relinquish it all?'" Think about it. I'd love to tell you that I feel like our society, our culture has gotten a ton better, but no, we still consume, buy, accumulate, and really want those that come after us to somehow treasure what we think is important. When instead, we should treasure the importance of the generations to come. So that's really necessary for us to do. When I've seen people struggle, and some of the struggles we even seem to have today, are a result of one generation trying to hit the copy button for the generations to come. And it just doesn't work that way. What we can do, instead of making everyone into some kind of copy of what's been before, that's called enforced tradition. We can instead proclaim a profitable direction for the generations to come. And the Proverbs are great lessons for that, to take to our own life, but to also give us instruction on how to pass this wisdom down. Proverbs chapter 4, verse 1 starts off this way: "Listen, my sons, to a father's instruction, and give attention that you may gain understanding." I hope you kind of hear that first word that's there, right? That sense of yearning that Solomon, the others who had added to the book of Proverbs, want to pass down to their kids, something that's really important. If you ever remember when your kids seemed like they weren't paying attention to you, you'd say, "Look at me, look me in the eyes," so that you at least felt like on the outside they were paying attention to you, so that you had their focus. And so Solomon is saying here, look me in the eyes, pay attention to what I'm going to say. And he goes on to say, "I give you sound learning, so do not forsake my teaching. For I too was a son to my father, still tender and cherished by my mother. Then he taught me, and he said to me, 'Take hold of my words with all your heart. Keep my commands, and you will live. Get wisdom, get understanding. Do not forget my words or turn away from them. Do not forsake wisdom, and she will protect you. Love her, and she will watch over you.' The beginning of wisdom is this: get wisdom. Though it cost all you have, get understanding. Cherish her, she will exalt you. Embrace her, and she will honor you. She will give a garland to grace your head and present you with a glorious crown." And it's really not complicated to be a wise person. Wisdom is available. What we have in Scripture for us, this revelation of God's work among us and moving toward us and giving us the full redemption that we can have in Jesus Christ, it's right here for us, for the taking. And so few take advantage of it. So remember that the beginning of wisdom is to just start. I encourage people all the time, follow Jesus. Just start following Jesus. Don't learn a program, don't learn a religion, don't learn a ritual. Just start following Jesus. Every day say, I want to hear what you have to say to me. I'm going to read your word. I'm going to follow your guidance. I'm going to listen to the church and the fellowship among me. And I'm going to turn the direction of my life toward following Jesus. And guess what? Things begin to change. And that's what he's saying. He says, run toward wisdom there. And he says, I get it. In fact, really one of the greatest things you can learn to do as a parent, whether your kids are in the preschool age or teenagers, or if they're adults, is remember you were at that stage yourself one time. And how did you listen? How did you look? How did you learn to what was shared with you? So be sensitive to that with them. Harry Truman said the best way he found to give advice to children is to find out what they want and then advise them to do it. In other words, they already got a motivation for a direction they want to go in. Find a way to tune that and equip that in a way that's God-honoring and God-equipping. And so that's what this author is saying, and we ought to do as well. That said, there's three small, tiny points I want to make sure that I share with you today. And one is the proverb writer is letting us know that words of wisdom are never demeaned. I mean, if we want people to listen to wisdom, we need to be very careful that we don't use words that are demeaning of others' wisdom. I mean, we can learn stuff from other cultures, other communities, other backgrounds. Someone said one time, all truth, that is what's really true, is God's truth. So we want to get that wisdom where it may be found. I don't mean common sense, I mean godly, biblical wisdom when we see it demonstrated. So make sure our words are going to communicate wisdom, not ridicule, not demeaning. And we live in a world where the burn is what people like to use, whether it be on Twitter or whatever. And when words become a vehicle of demoting others or demeaning others, they're never going to carry wisdom. The second thing is that wisdom, genuine wisdom, is never disproved. I mean, it is carried out and shown to be true through generation to generation, right? And the last thing is that the worth of wisdom carried down to the generations is never diminished. I mean, we're at a time, and people watch their 401k, their retirement fund, the stock market. Sometimes, even if they have money in it or not, they wonder: is it going to go up? Is it going to go down? What's it going to be worth? What's the value of what I have? But wisdom, when you have it, will never diminish in value. In fact, it'll become a treasure that gets passed down from the generations. I don't know what heirlooms you have in your home. Most of what we have are things that were handed down to us because as a young couple in ministry, we didn't have money to buy furniture, so family members just kind of shunted used furniture our way. And so one of the things I wound up with was a rocking chair that my grandmother had, and I learned it was her mother's before her, and I learned the story of it, that was made by hand by my great-grandfather. And in that rocking chair, she rocked her 12 babies. So we had the grandkids this weekend. I thought about that as the 2-year-old granddaughter got up in it all by herself and rocked in that chair. And I thought, someday, that chair, as solid as it is, even though it creaks, might be sat in by her as she rocks her children. And what a great treasure that would be. But an even greater treasure that we would be able to pass on to her the wisdom of God. Another text I wanted to look on with you is in Proverbs 6, verses 20 through 23. He says, "My son, keep your father's command. Do not forsake your mother's teaching. Bind them always on your heart. Fasten them around your neck. When you walk, they will guide you. When you sleep, they will watch over you. When you awake, they will speak to you. For this command is a lamp. This teaching is a light, and instruction are the way to life. Man, we want to find little hooks, little reminders that our kids can always look to and pass on for them. So I can think of some things that my own grandparents passed on to me. My grandmothers were both wonderful, godly ladies, and my Mimi, the last gift she gave me before she passed away, it was a Bible that she gave me as a child, and actually I was just a teenager, and she gave me that copy of God's Word. My grandmother, who passed away when I was a young adult, she had Alzheimer's, and for a while she didn't know who I was, but yet the week before she passed away, I was visiting with her, and she'd not known me for a long time, and someone asked who was with her, and she looked over at me and she said, "Oh, that's my grandson, Jay." I nearly fell out of the chair, but that was a gift of recognition for who I was, and so I remember the influence of those two women upon my life. My grandfathers, who stepped in and helped so much. My father was a busy working man. It was from that kind of generation, and my grandfathers leaned in and spent so much time with me. One granddaddy, I remember, patiently taught me the shrewdness of dominoes. The other one taught me the patience of fishing. So to think how they poured themselves into my life. And so as I had my grandkids this weekend, I thought every moment, everything spent with them would become a treasure. I close with a quick little story. The 4-year-old needed some activity to do, and and they always like to be able to purchase a toy, but I wanted him to have fun and being able to go buy his own toy. So I had, like you, bags of little pocket change, and so we played a little game. I told him I had a friend who was a pirate. Now, don't get me in trouble here, but that had buried treasure in my backyard. And we spent some time discovering where the treasure was, and when he found the treasure, it was precious to him. And he thought to himself, he said, "Do I want to spend this on something, or do I want to keep it?" And then finally, he decided to spend it. And it was just a bunch of coins, and we got to the store to buy it, and he went to the cashier with all his coins, and he asked the lady there that was checking us out, he said, "Ma'am, do you all take pirate treasure here?" I love the way she looked at me and leaned in, and she said, "Of course we do." And she counted out all the coins, enough to pay for the toy. And my grandson went away with a great experience and a good story. And he thinks, not only is his grandpa pretty wise, but his papa knows pirates. Well, what are our kids, grandkids, the generation that we may have biologically or through the fellowship of the church, think of us? Are we investing our time, our talent, our treasure in them, helping them to pursue what Christ is leading them to? How do we advise them toward doing the mission Jesus has called them, not the one we've yet finished? God bless you today. Thanks for studying with us. We'll see you again next time.